everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today, and before we get started, be sure that you're subscribed, that way you don't miss out on any of the crafty content we have coming. Today's video is going to be everything you need to know about working with Printable HTV. Now this product can be really intimidating, especially if you're somebody who is new to the crafting world. But I hope to break it down for you and make it far less scary, because truly you can make some beautiful projects. I made this adorable little bunny shirt and you're gonna get to make it along with me. Now you're gonna just need a few supplies, and don't worry, they're all really easy to get. And I'm giving you suggestions from my favorites, so I highly recommend these. I'm going to be using StarCraft Printable HTV for darks, and don't forget, I'll link everything down below in the description for you, and you can always use code Corinne over at 143 Vinyl to buy any of the products there and save 5%. I'm also going to recommend that you have a pin pen or some sort of a weeding tool, super important, and then you're going to want a light grip Cricut mat. You're also going to need an inkjet printer for this. It's really important that you use the right type of printer, because if you don't, the ink won't stay on it, it'll be a mess, and we definitely don't want that to happen. And you're gonna need a heat press. Not an easy press, not an iron, but a real heat press, because you do need to use such firm, even pressure with these to make them last, so that's why it's really important. Now again, linking everything that you might need down below in case you don't have it, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. But I wanna make sure you know that if you have any questions at all, shout those out in the comments down below, and I will more than happily answer those for you. That way you guys can be on the track to make your very own Printable HTV shirts. Before we get started, I just want to show you what files would work really well for this print and cut using your Printable HTV and which ones don't and why that is. So the first one here is this really cute spring vibes design. And while it's adorable, this is not going to work at all for a Printable HTV product. This is a PNG made for sublimation, meaning that it has a transparent background. And what that means is that all of these little cuts and all the space between this like dark outline and the colored letters is all transparent. That means that your Cricut is going to want to try to cut out every single one of those little pieces, and that's not going to work for a Printable HTV. Now this does come with two versions. However, we still have the problem with the second version where in between the letter and the black outline and then the word vibes, that's all going to be transparent. So this is not really a great image to be using for a Printable HTV. Now this is a great candidate for both sublimation or DTF prints, which are great, and I'll link some videos about both of those down below in case you have more questions. But let me show you the file that's going to work really well for this and that we're going to use. We're going to use this adorable Easter Bunny tails version of this image. This is really super cute, and you'll notice that it should all be filled in. Now this is a PNG file and it's 300 DPI, which means it's really good quality, which means that you're going to have a really nice quality print. So this is always a great option, is to use a really high quality PNG file. Now to download it, I'm just simply going to click download, and I'll link down below the image if you want to use this one. I'll link the Spring Vibes one too, because that is really cute if you want to use it. I'm going to go ahead and save our file, and then I want to make sure to extract our folder. All you have to do is simply just click extract all and then click extract, and it opens up my folder for me. So here are my bunnies. Now let's head over to Design Space. We're going to upload our image, and I'll show you how to make sure that it doesn't have any weird transparent spaces. Once you're over in Design Space, we can simply click upload and we can upload our image. Now for this one, I am going to drag and drop it. It's just a lot easier for me. I don't have to go searching for it, and I can just drag it and drop it into my folder. Now this is going to be a big image. It's going to be high quality, so it may take a while for it to actually upload into Design Space. So if it's taking a little while, just give it a minute, because these 300 DPI images are pretty big, and you can tell how big it is based on how the checkerboard looks behind it when you go to upload it. Now I'm going to go ahead and click apply and continue, and it again might take a minute over here because it is kind of a big file. Now that we have this section, what we need to do is save this as the print then cut file and click upload. Once it's in your uploads, just choose it and add it to the canvas. Now again, large file, so this might take a moment. If it does, just give it a second, it will come in. Now you can see that this file is absolutely enormous. It is 24 inches wide, 18 inches high. So the first thing I'm going to do is size this down. I'm just going to go at 10 inches wide for now. That way we can just get a good look at it. Now you'll see that we do have where there are some white areas. Typically with white areas, you worry that those might be transparent, meaning that your Cricut is going to try to cut all those little spots out. We definitely don't want it to do that. So a quick way to check if any of these areas are transparent is to go down and click where it says blank canvas. And I want you to change the color of your canvas to anything at all. It doesn't matter necessarily. You just want it to be a different color than white. Now look and see if you can see any of that green color under your rabbits. I don't see any, so I think we're pretty good to go as far as the print is concerned. There's no areas of this that I'm worried about when it comes to cutting out little tiny holes. Now we're using the HTV for darks, so we don't need to mirror this. Now if this had writing on it and you were using for lights, you would need to mirror this, but it really doesn't matter if you're using lights or darks as long as there's not words or something that needs to face a specific way. Now we will need to size this to fit into our print and cut area, and our sheets are 8.5 by 11. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use one of my templates just so I can make sure that I make this as big as possible. I've got free templates on my website that you can use to help you size things for print and cut. So I'm just going to add it into my canvas. Now it does give you the measurements here because it does upload really large for whatever reason. I don't know why. So I will need to size this down, and I've actually found that 7.43 actually works a little bit better with Design Space. Sometimes it gives you a little bit of attitude. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this design and I'm going to send this to the back. I want it behind my bunnies. Now you'll notice that our bunnies are definitely wider than they are tall. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate them. That way I can fit them as big as possible onto our printable paper. So now all I have to do is play with this and just size them down until they fit within our printable area. Now just kind of basing it on the sizing here, I'm just going to stretch it as big as it can go into our printable space. Oh, that might be a little too big. I just want to go down a little bit more. That looks like it will fit just fine, but you can see how much space we're able to take up by using this template. We're really able to add additional space. Now I'll link down below where you can download the template for completely free. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I want to hide my template, and I'm just going to simply click the make button. Now from here, it's going to ask me to save my project. I'm not going to bother saving. It's fine. But this one here, what you'll see is it's going to bring up our printable screen. And again, look at how much space our little bunnies take up. It's a great area, lots of space, pretty big print, which is really nice. The next thing I want to do is I want to make sure to get these printed out, and I want to use my best settings possible. So I click continue and I want to send this to the printer. Now this is a section of the video you do not want to skip because this is what's going to make sure that you get the best print quality for your project. Now I want to make sure that I use my ET2720, which is my inkjet printer. You don't want to use your sublimation printer on Printable HTV. I'm going to leave bleed on, and then I want to make sure to use my system dialog. And I'll show you what leaving bleed on does after we print it, because it's kind of hard to explain unless you can actually see it. But when you don't have an offset, leaving the bleed on is a great option. Now what it's doing is it's going to open up my printer preferences. I want to go over and find the printer that we're going to be using. So again, we're going to be using my ET2720, and then I want to choose preferences. Now under preferences, there's a few settings that are going to make sure that your prints come out really nice. The first thing that you want to do is change your paper type. Now I have found for my Printable HTV that using the premium presentation paper matte works pretty well, and so does presentation paper matte, but you may just want to play around with your printer and see what works best for you. Then I want you to change your quality from standard to high. You're going to do that with any of the prints that you do from Design Space. It's just going to give you a better print. These are our printed bunnies. Now you notice that the outline is a little bit thicker than it was in Design Space, and that is what is your bleed. It pushes the color from the edges of the design out just a little bit to help prevent any white edges showing. Now you want to make sure that you load this in the same direction that it shows in Design Space. So in Design Space, our pink bunny is at the top of our mat. So I'm going to load my mat with that pink bunny at the very top. And you want to make sure that you're using a good mat that's going to be relatively sticky. And then you just try to get this on as straight as you can. And you want to make sure that it's well held down. Now with this product, this is usually something that reads really easy in your Cricut because it's not glossy. It's just kind of a matte finish. It's gonna read all of our registration lines, then it will cut around our bunnies. And I'm gonna show you how to weed this because it's really important that you take this off the correct way or you could damage it. I also wanna make sure to tell you, because I almost forgot, that we're gonna cut this on the rice paper setting. The reason we're using the rice paper setting is we don't want it to cut all the way through the backing. We just want it to cut through the actual design portion. So similar to when you do adhesive vinyl and you only want it to cut through the top section, that's how this is gonna cut as well. Now before I unload this, I do want to check my cut just to make sure that it did actually cut through, just to be safe. So I'll usually find a spot that's maybe a little less conspicuous, something that if it rips a little, it's not a big deal. So like maybe between the bunnies is a great place to check, or between the little whiskers here. So I just take my pin pen and I just pull up a little bit of the backing and I just make sure that it looks like it cut pretty well. And it looks like it cut really, really well, so that is super great. Now what I'm gonna do is unload my mat, and I wanna remove my design from my mat. Now we obviously wanna make sure that we don't damage our design, so flip your mat over and just roll your design off of the mat. If you take anything away from this video, I want it to be this tip on how to actually weed your designs. So you'll see a lot of people that will want to weed the bunnies away from the backing first. But I've been doing this a long time and I have actually found that weeding the backing away is actually the better way to do this. So I actually will take my backing, so I weed it just like I would again with adhesive vinyl. This is just a much easier way to do it. And this for me is what works so well and makes these projects so much easier. So what I do is I just remove the backing and you can see that it's just like weeding vinyl. And you just remove this portion, which is a portion we don't need. Now you'll see here where it lifted a little, that's okay. It just didn't cut very well right there, and that happens sometimes. So we're just gonna go ahead and be a little more gentle going around all of our edges, especially around the sharper points, like our bunny ears and our whiskers, just to make sure that nothing lifts or gets damaged in our process. So you can see here, I'm just gonna go between the bunnies and get that little section out. And then I'm gonna go around this ear. Now we know that the ears are a little bit of a problem spot, so you just sort of follow the design around while you're weeding. So I'm not pulling it up all the way. I'm just like gently peeling it back from the edges. Now we already peeled this little part of the whisker, so I just want to make sure to get this section over here and then around the ear. So you can see I'm just taking my time. If I don't, I have that potential to damage the design. Now I'm going to go around these whiskers. So again, I just want to go slow, and then we can peel the rest of this off. So now what you're left with is your design on your backing. We need to get the design off the backing because unlike some other products, when you press this, you actually press it just directly onto the shirt without the backing. You cover this with some parchment paper or Teflon sheet, which we will do in just a second. But now you've got these bunnies on the backing and you're thinking, well, how the heck do I get these off? Super easy, just like you did the regular part. But now you're going to be able to use your finger and not your pin pen, and you can sort of fold this back a little and then you can peel. But if that gives you trouble, which sometimes it can, go ahead, get that pin pen out, and then you can just start along the edge, and you just want to very gently get an edge started. And then just like when you weeded it, you want to go very gentle. So you can see over here, we've got these whiskers. So I want to make sure that as I'm pulling, that I'm gently kind of pulling in the direction of the whiskers. You get little spots that might want to stay stuck down. Just use your pin pen just along the edge, very, very gently. And you can get them to start lifting. So now I can get his bunny ear up. So you can do this in many different ways to get these to come up, but this is just the way that works best for me. But I would highly recommend you get used to using these, take your time. And now you can see here, like once I get kind of the booties up and then I can get past the whiskers, the rest should be simple. And now you're gonna have this super thin piece of printable HTV, and look how cute, these are gonna be so cute. I'm gonna put these on a 100% cotton shirt, but these work on polyester. And because they're 4 darks, they'll work on any color, including white, but I wanted to do it on this purple, which just kind of gives me like springy bunny rabbit vibes. And I just thought, look at how stinking much those pop. They're so cute. Now, I will say I don't tend to line them up here on my table because we need to line them up on our press because these are not sticky in any way. So we won't be able to like hold them in place. I would not recommend putting any kind of transfer tape on these. No heat tape, nothing like that, because it can damage the ink on them. But I think they're gonna be so darn cute. Now these press at 350 degrees for 30 seconds with a firm pressure, and then these are going to adhere to your shirt. Now, like I said, you can use any color with the StarCraft for darks, which is great. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my heat press heated up. I'll take you over and show you how to press this. The heat press is set for 350 degrees at 30 seconds with firm pressure. Now, when you do this, you don't want to swing your press down really fast because the wind, like the breeze, if you will, could move this. So you want to take your time when putting your press down. So you just kind of go slow with it, and then you want to push your press down. This is going to heat for 30 seconds, and then our shirt is all done. Now that it's done, you can go ahead and lift up on your press. Now, you will have sometimes where your Teflon sheet might hold on to your design a little bit. That's completely normal, so don't fret if that's what happens. You'll notice it less if your Teflon sheet doesn't magnetize to your press like mine does, but we're gonna let this cool down just for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like all finished. One of the things that I love so much about the Printable HTV is how soft it is, but also how vibrant the colors are. You can see on this dark shirt that it didn't pick up any of that dark color like sublimation does or anything like that. And if you're not into doing DTF prints, a Printable HTV is definitely the way to go. StarCraft for darks is great because it works on both lights and darks, so you don't have to buy 2 different products, and you can really see how vibrant these colors are. If you have any questions, please let me know in those comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. If you're interested in any of the products I used in this video, I will link everything down below in the video's description. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.